Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Friends Chat. I'm Emma.
And I'm Ryan. This is the channel where we skip the academic structure. We sit down and have friendly, focused conversations designed to help you practice your listening.
And immediately learn all the natural phrases, idioms, and grammar patterns you need to sound authentic in real life. We teach you what native speakers actually use.
You know that feeling the moment you decide to travel? All that excitement. And then you immediately hit this wall of special English words.
Right.
We're talking about words like layover, itinerary, maybe amenities, words that just, I don't know, they turn the fun of booking into instant anxiety.
That vocabulary barrier is, well, it's probably the single biggest stress point when you're planning a trip in English. It doesn't matter if you're online or talking to a person.
So today, we're getting rid of that stress.
Yes.
Our mission is to take you on a complete deep dive. We've broken it down into the 4 essential phases of planning a trip.
And we're going beyond just definitions. We're giving you the exact phrases you need to sound confident, to get what you actually want.
Think of this as your practical guide. By the end of this, you'll be able to plan your dream. Vacation flights, hotels, everything like you've been doing it for years.
Let's dive in. Phase 1, the dreaming phase.
Okay, so every trip starts with just an idea, right? A conversation.
Yeah.
So how do you even start it? Instead of just a vague, let's go somewhere, it's better to use a more solid phrase.
Right, like I've been thinking we should really take a vacation. Or if you're feeling stressed, I really need a break, we should look into a trip.
That feels more real. It gets the ball rolling.
It does. And once that idea is out there, you immediately have to answer the 3 big questions. Where, when, and for how long? The destination, timing, and duration.
And for destination, it doesn't have to be a specific city, does it?
Not at all. It can be a type of trip. You could say, I want a beach vacation, or let's do a city break, versus, something more outdoorsy, like a hiking trip.
Okay, and timing. That's huge. We hear long weekend a lot.
Yeah, that's your classic Friday to Monday trip. But timing is also directly connected to cost.
Right. The off-season versus the peak season.
Exactly. Off-season is when fewer people are traveling, so it's cheaper. Peak season, like summer holidays, is when prices just skyrocket.
And then there's duration. How long are we going for?
And you can keep it simple. A few days, a full week, or maybe 10 days. Just to get a rough idea.
Which brings us, of course, to the budget talk. This is where things can get tricky.
You have to be on the same page about money.
So what's the language for that? You could say, we need to do this on a budget.
Yeah. That means you want to spend less. Or the opposite could be true. Maybe it's a special occasion, an anniversary or something.
And you decide to splurge.
You decide to splurge. You spend a bit more on something nice. And a key word here is affordable, which just means, not too expensive.
So we've got our idea, a destination type, a time of year, and a budget. Now we actually have to book things.
Now we get to phase 2, booking transportation. And that usually means flights.
Okay, this is where the really technical vocabulary starts.
It is. So we all know departure and arrival, but let's get into the ticket types. Most people are booking a round-trip ticket.
So there and back.
There and back. But the big decision is about the stocks. The best but most expensive option is a direct flight.
But wait, direct can be a bit confusing, can it?
It can. A direct flight might still stop somewhere to pick up passengers, but, and this is the key, you do not get off the plane.
So the turn you really want, if you don't want to stop at all, is nonstop.
Nonstop. That's the one. From city A straight to city B, no stops. Fastest, but usually the priciest.
And the cheaper option involves a layover.
A layover or a stopover. A layover is short. You get off one plane and get on to another in a connecting airport.
And a stopover is longer.
Much longer. It could even be for a day or 2. Some airlines offer them for free, actually, as a way to see another city.
Good to know. Okay, let's talk about luggage because the fees can be a surprise.
Oh, definitely. So you have your carry-on bag, which goes on the plane with you in the overhead bin.
And then your checked bag or checked luggage.
Yeah.
That goes underneath the plane.
And the key phrase here is baggage allowance. You need to know how many bags are included for free. If you bring extra, you'll pay an excess baggage fee.
All right, let's put this into practice. Let's do a role play. You're calling a travel agent Global Travel. You need a round-trip flight from Chicago to Paris, August 10th to the 17th. And you want that nonstop flight. I'll be the agent.
Sounds good.
Global Travel, how can I help you?
Hello. I'd like to book a flight to Paris, please.
Certainly. And what dates were you thinking of? And where will you be departing from?
I'm looking for a round-trip ticket, departing from Chicago on August 10th and returning on August 17th.
Okay, let me see. I have 2 main options for you. There's an Air France flight with one layover in Amsterdam, and that's $800. Or there's a nonstop flight on American Airlines for $1,200.
Okay. For this trip, convenience is more important, so I'll take the nonstop American Airlines flight.
Great choice.
Before we confirm, could you tell me about the baggage allowance for that ticket?
Of course. With that fare, you're allowed one carry-on bag and one checked bag up to 50 pounds, free of charge.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and book the nonstop flight, please.
You see how just using nonstop and baggage allowance makes that conversation so much clearer?
Completely. You get exactly what you need.
Okay, so flights are booked. Phase 3 is finding a place to stay. Accommodation.
Right. And here the vocabulary is all about the type of place and what's included.
We all know hotel, but there are other options, like a hostel.
Yep, hostels are very affordable. You usually share a room called a dorm room. Great for budget travelers.
And then there are vacation rentals,
Yeah.
like an Airbnb where you get a whole apartment or house.
No, when you book, the verbs are to book or to make a reservation. And you need to be clear about your check-in and check-out dates.
Check-in is usually in the afternoon, right?
Yeah,
Like
sure.
3 p.m.
Typically. And checkout is often around 11 a.m. But the most important vocabulary here, I think, is the room types. This is where people make mistakes.
Okay, let's break it down.
A single room is for one person, one small bed. A double room is for two people, but it has one big bed. It's meant for a couple.
So if you're traveling with a friend, you do not want a double room?
Unless you want to share a bed, what you want is a twin room. That specifically means a room with two separate beds.
That one distinction is a game changer. So always ask for a twin room if you need 2 beds.
Always. And then you need to ask about amenities.
Amenities, so the extras, like a pool or a gym.
Exactly. And you have to ask if things like breakfast or Wi-Fi are included in the price or if you have to pay extra.
Okay, time for role play 2. You're calling the Grand Hotel Paris for that 7-night stay. I'll be the hotel receptionist.
All right, I'm ready.
Thank you for calling the Grand Hotel Paris. How can I help you?
Hello, I'd like to make a reservation.
Of course. For what dates?
I'd like to book a room checking in on August 10th and checking out on August 17th.
Let me check our availability. Yes, we have rooms for those dates. What kind of room will you be needing?
I need a twin room, please, for 2 people, so with 2 separate beds.
A twin room? We can do that for $200 per night.
Okay, that sounds good. Can I ask if breakfast is included in that rate?
Yes. A continental breakfast is included for all guests.
And is there free Wi-Fi in the rooms?
There is, yes.
Great. One last question. What is your cancellation policy?
That's a very smart question to ask. We offer free cancellation up to 48 hours before your check-in time,
Okay, wonderful. Please go ahead with the booking.
and that's it. You've confirmed the room type, the amenities, and the crucial cancellation policy. After that, they'll give you a confirmation number.
And you should save that confirmation number. It's your proof of booking.
Okay, we are in the home stretch. We have our flights. We have our hotel. Now for phase 4, the details,
This is all about the itinerary.
which is really just a fancy word for your schedule, right? Your day-by-day plan.
It is. And when you're making your itinerary, a key phrase is to book tickets in advance.
In advance, meaning before you even leave home.
Exactly. For really popular places like a famous museum or landmark, you buy the tickets online before you go. This way you avoid waiting in long lines. Or worse, finding out it's sold out.
That's a great tip. And a common verb we use is to go sightseeing.
Which just means visiting the famous tourist spots. You might say, on Tuesday, let's go sightseeing in the old part of the city.
And of course, you have to plan for food. Making a restaurant reservation is a good idea, especially for a nice dinner.
For sure. Now, beyond the fun stuff, there are a few final practical steps.
Right. You have to check the weather forecast.
So you know what clothes to pack. And the goal is always to pack light. Nobody enjoys dragging a heavy suitcase around.
Absolutely not. And then the really important documents, your passport, obviously, but also travel insurance.
Oh, travel insurance is non-negotiable. It protects you in case of a medical emergency or, if you have to cancel your trip unexpectedly. It can save you thousands of dollars.
So you've done all that. You're ready to go. What's the final step?
The final, most important action is to double-check everything.
Check it a second time.
Yes. Double-check your flight times. Not just the date, the actual time. Double-check your hotel confirmation number. Just a quick review of everything. It removes almost all of that last-minute travel anxiety.
So there it is, the 4 phases, from dreaming to booking transport and accommodation to planning the final itinerary.
We've covered a lot of vocabulary, from layover and round trip to the difference between a twin room and a double room.
You now have the language to take control of the planning process. It's not so scary when you break it down into these small, manageable steps.
Not at all. And that leaves us with our final two-part question of the day for you to think about.
First, if you could use these phrases right now to travel anywhere in the world, where would you go?
And second, are you the kind of person who plans every single detail of your itinerary in advance? Or do you prefer to be spontaneous and just decide what to do when you arrive?
Something to think about.
That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like this video and subscribe our channel to never miss another video like this so that you can take your English to the next level.